So what's going on with you music-wise right now?
Music-wise, I've been in a bit of a transition because I stepped away and wanted to get my education right.
You went to Harvard.
Yeah, still got 2 more years.
Explain what the Harvard thing is exactly and the reasoning behind it.
Oh man, shout out to my Harvard OPM 48 group. Harvard has been something that I never dreamed of, by the way, coming from the South Bronx and never really taking a liking to school just because of the circumstances that I was in and I guess the circumstances that the teachers were in also. For me to be actually sitting amongst so many great people in my class, coming from where I come from on all circumstances, from my living circumstances where I grew up at to the circumstances of the educational system that I was, forced to be in because of where I lived. And my parents did a great job, but it still didn't change the system and the people that were surrounding those systems, but that's not an excuse for me. I didn't want to use that as an excuse to not go back and tighten up and sharpen things up. The motivation of me going to Harvard was I've been in a lot of big deals and I've changed a lot of big billion-dollar companies just off of know-how and pulse and knowing what people like and having taste that I acquired from traveling. And I remember just sitting in meetings, and these meetings would be because of me, and I just didn't feel the proper respect because I couldn't really participate in the other language that was happening in the room. So it was almost like, okay, this is the rapper, but this is, and,
this is the real business,
and
right?
this is the business.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I started in rap, but since then I've been diverse in many areas since then. But being that you have that RAP title, it in people's minds it just freezes for some reason. They can't get past that. And so I was on a business trip and I was talking to one of my business partners on the plane, and I was saying, look, man, I really want to get the language and the business that we're dealing with kind of down packed. I don't care if it's an online class, I don't care what I need to do, but I want to go up in these meetings and I want to really have the language down packed. And then it was referenced, this Harvard class, the owner's class, being that I'm an owner in, a few companies that I can sign up for this. And I was like, wow. And then I didn't, the company had to be worth, over 200 million. They have different levels. You have one that's 10 million and you have another company that's over 200 million. And, Monster happened to be worth over 200 plus. You know what I'm saying? So I submitted it. The class was overbooked. We got a bunch of no's, and just kept doing it. And then I got the last minute. It's like the acceptance came through. I was like, it's like one of the deepest moments. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't cry, but I definitely, 2 came out my eyes that day. I was like, wow. The way the class is set up, I'm in a class with owners from all over the world. We have over 30-something countries in our class. And, very successful people. It's about 180 of us. I'm the only person that come from where I come from, music, area, US, everything in my class. And it's just been a great networking system, just to meet so many amazing people around the world that also have similar stories. You know what I'm saying? So what I learned from my class is that, it's not all pretty everywhere. I know people that started, you listen to the stories of the people that's super successful, it's not always handed down, it's not always what you think it is. People start out delivering milk, and other people started out homeless, and other people started out with $15. They might have $15 in their pocket, and you hear these transitional stories and they're inspiring. I'm like, well, man, we all got the same story kind of in here, And what I would do was I would take out different countries to dinner and just get to know more about their culture. And nobody knew I was Swizz Beatz. I was Kasim Dean in my class until my wife showed up to school, and then it was over after that. It was but it was cool because it was towards the end, because I wanted to focus. So she came towards the end, but I was already cool with everybody. I already had, we was already having.
So no one recognized you as Swizz in that class?
Nah. The way the OPM program is, the OPM is, it's the owner's program, so everybody run companies. So what we do is we take the intel that we get from our professors and we go apply it to our businesses. And then so now when we come back, so I go back in March, and when I start my semester in March, I gotta bring all of the data and I gotta at least raise the company like by 5%, and I gotta show the ways how I've done it, and I gotta be evaluated. It's a real thing. This is the hardest class to get into in Harvard, by the way, because you have to already be successful and you have to engage in a real active business. So this is real life college, which is the best college for me because, I don't think I could relate to going to college or something that I haven't really touched yet, because it's a big risk. Even though I'm not knocking anybody that go to college for future plans they have, but for me personally, going there and saying, okay, I can apply this to Monster, I can apply this to Reebok, I can apply this, to helping other people out as well. Because since then, a lot of other people have been coming to me for help, and shout out to J. Cole that's trying to get into NYU right now, making a couple of phone calls for him, and a lot of people.
L.A. Reid actually, I think, left his label at one point and got a Harvard MBA.
Yeah, L.A. did the same class.
Same class.
He did the same class. It was only critique. I spoke to L.A. before I went in, and it's crazy because he gave me some great advice. But the times has changed since he's been there. So I went in there with like his advice, and I'm like, well, damn, this thing done changed since he's been in there. This is a whole nother type of flow. But it was great. He was like one of the people that I was reaching out to because I was nervous. I didn't know what to expect. And one thing that they specialize in is making everybody feel comfortable. And one thing I learned about Harvard is that everybody's not as smart as you think they are. When you look around the class and you look at who hands go up and all these different things, everybody, and the way people answer their questions, everybody's not as smart as you think they are. There's always room for people to grow. I wanted to make sure I raised my hand at least 2-3 times a class every time because I'm being looked at in a different type of way. I'm very different than my class.